This week on Jersey Matters, some say development is dying in New Jersey. We're going to talk to one of the most powerful developers in the state who says that's just not true.
You take like minds and like ideas and you bring them into a room and then you give them a pathway to get something accomplished.
Then everybody seems to be playing it, but what the heck is pickleball?
The more you play, I think you'll fall in love with the game.
And before Bandstand went to Broadway, it opened in New Jersey. We come to you this week from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. In a moment, we're going to go to the law offices of Jon Bramnick. He is the minority leader in the New Jersey Assembly. We'll talk about the upcoming election and also whether he would like to become a U.S. Senator should the job become open. But first, a few words. What if you held an election and nobody seemed to care? That seems to be happening right now in New Jersey. Just as a reminder, there is a big election in New Jersey this year on November 7th. At the top of the ticket, the race for governor between Democrat Phil Murphy and Republican Kim Guadagno. Phil Murphy is considered a fait accompli to win, so a lot of people are going, why should I vote? And a record low turnout is expected. Why? Because public opinion polls so far has had Phil Murphy way ahead. But is that good for the process? I mean, before the election even takes place, that a few hundred people are asked over the phone who they would vote for, and that decides the election? The Constitution calls for popular sovereignty. What we have right now is phone book sovereignty. But since public opinion polls aren't going to go away anytime soon, the only hope is that they show some restraint. Maybe don't do any polling until the first debate. But that's not going to happen either, because universities and networks and newspapers are addicted to the notoriety that public opinion polling brings. No, it's up to you. You have to care about the issues and not the polls. Don't allow them to make your decision for you, and please don't allow them to keep you from voting. Almost on cue, there's a brand new poll out today on the day we're taping our interview with Assemblyman Jon Bramnick, the minority leader in the New Jersey Senate, and we ask him about it. A new poll just out today, the Suffolk University USA Today poll shows Kim Guadagno down 20 points. You're smiling.
Yeah, well, politics is cyclical. So what you see is kind of 8 years of Republican, and then people tend to want change until they hear what Phil Murphy's saying. And that's only started to get out, meaning he wants to raise taxes $1.3 billion. And that's the first candidate in the history of New Jersey who goes like this, I like taxes. So there's a misstep by him when I say he told the truth. And when people start hearing that, those poll numbers are going to change.
Here's the problem. In the poll, the number one thing that came up when they mentioned Kim Guadagno is I don't know her. That was the number one thing that came up.
Do they know Phil Murphy?
Phil Murphy, the number one thing that comes up is Democrat. And then Goldman Sachs is number two. So yeah, they seem to know him because he's spent so much money to be known over Kim Guadagno. And it's setting up a bigger point that I wanted to talk about. And that is how much do these polls hurt the process? Because it's almost like people aren't interested in the race anymore because they think it's over.
Yeah, polls are a problem, and it's because everybody wants to be with the winner. So, yeah, I agree that polls sometimes will dictate where the public will go. And I don't think they're necessarily helpful for the process, but no one's getting rid of them, so it's a moot point.
Well, I know that in England they say that there shouldn't be a poll but until the first debate happens. And in England they're saying no polls in the last week of the election because it could affect the turnout. And so what they're saying is 4,000 people, or that's a lot, 1,000 people or 500 people shouldn't determine who's going to be in office.
It's probably a good idea. It's just no one's going to outlaw polls in America, though I think your concept is a good one. You know, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Does it frustrate you?
No. Because I don't mind polls because it tells me where I am, and I'm happy to have to work harder or get a certain message out. We use polls because, you know, sometimes you meet somebody in a supermarket, you think that person is informed and has opinion. I want to know where a broader spectrum of people are on issues many times.
You have an assemblyman in Sussex County that has caused a little bit of a ruckus because he's posed in front of a Confederate flag at a Hank Williams concert. But the Confederate flag said more than that. The Confederate flag, there was a saying underneath that, what if the South would have won? And it would be a better place if the South would won. I'm paraphrasing, that's not exactly what it said. What's your reaction to what he did, since you're an assembly leader for the Republicans?
Confederate flag, bad. Bad image, bad message, and bad photograph. So what Parker Space did there, I don't think it's helpful for the Republican Party, but the people in Sussex County are going to have to determine, whether Parker is the right guy for their assemblyman. Now, I know Parker's a good legislator from a business standpoint, but I disagree, like anyone else. I'm sure you disagree with people in your family. I fundamentally disagree with any relationship to the Confederate flag. It's a very bad message.
But then
and also,
right
I'm
after
from the North, too. So I don't get that part.
Right after that happened, another controversy with Assemblyman Space, and that's he's in a private phone call that was, I guess, reported somehow, where he called a Sussex County politician, a female, the B word several times in the conversation. Is this starting to get to you? I mean, is it getting to the point now where you're going, I got to do something about this?
Well, there's nothing I can do because I'm not the chairman of Sussex County, but no, I don't think that kind of language is helpful. And we as leaders or as assembly people are under the microscope. So we have to be very careful. But these kind of mistakes, in my judgment, are not determinative of an election. What's determinative of the election are the voters. It's not the language I would use. I would surely stay away from the Confederate flag, but I'm not going to tell the people in Sussex County that they shouldn't vote for him because on balance, maybe they like his pro-business policies. Maybe the Democrat running against Parker Space has policies that are not consistent with Sussex County. So I'll let the voters determine the outcome there, though I will condemn, hateful speech or, what I call a non-civil approach to politics.
So you will condemn hateful speech, but you don't condemn him?
No, I'm saying I condemn hateful speech, but I don't tell voters how to vote because there's more issues than simply what he said.
I'm going to admit guilt to something that seems to be a common theme in your answers. The media seems to obsess on Parker Space, for instance, using the B word, standing in front of the Confederate flag. Donald Trump talking about the NFL and if people should take a knee. Is there a frustration for you that we obsess on those things when you want to deal with property taxes, when you want to deal with school funding?
I guess I'm used to it. Well, I think the truth of the matter is that people's attention span on issues are probably relatively short. For you to stay on television, people have to watch it. So you need ratings. In order to get ratings, you have to put something on that people want to listen to. So if you get into the details of public policy debates and you get into the history of property taxes and what affects property taxes, they're going to turn the channel. Actually, they'll watch Bonanza on your show. But they'll turn the channel and they'll see one of those Hollywood entertainment shows which they talk about some famous movie star who did something stupid.
Well, let's put that to the test.
Yeah.
When we come back in the next segment, we'll talk about some of the issues, property taxes, for instance, and how about arbitration when Jersey Matters continues with Assembly Minority Leader Jon Bramnick.